Welcome to Building Business. I'm Ben, and I've got Jim Aline with me today, and we are going to talk about, I think, the fundamentals about how you set up your marketing. So this is a very scary thing for a lot of people. They have no idea how to do it right. And so we're going to really dive in. And the whole core concept is like around marketing and advertising and how you should set that up. Jim, what is the first place to start? Yeah, you should set it up.
They should set it up. They should start, right? That should be the first thing. But
I know everybody's sitting there going, I know I should do it, but what do I even do?
Exactly.
Right?
So really, let's look at it. I think on this episode, we're going to go a little bit, we're going to start from a real macro level, right? And that are the benefits of marketing and advertising. And that's really, it's kind of an easy answer there, right?
Yeah, everybody knows they need that.
You need that. Your phone rings, right? That's what happens with marketing and advertising. Those are the benefits of marketing and advertising. Marketing is just the promotion of a good or service. It's that simple, right? So if you think about things simply, everybody gets caught up in the what and how and who and what should I do. Think about it simply, like it's just the promotion of your business, the promotion of the services that you provide. But you have to promote it. Right now, we could get into some of the hows. Like,
well,
how
before
do you
jump
see?
into that, so one thing I think about, there's a classic term in marketing called mix, right? And that's where I think a lot of people start going, well, I know I need to promote. And it really, the question comes down to like, what mix should I use? Now, just to define it, mix is like the different types of channels and sources you have to reach possible potential customers. And then how much should you spend or focus or put resources into each one of those things?
Yeah, for sure. I know you guys, you guys work with a ton of contractors. I could tell you what we see, but what do you guys see?
I mean, in regards to what?
Their marketing mix.
So when I ask customers, like, where do you get your leads? They always say a few things. They say referrals, if they're doing it right, okay? And then they'll say, we do some social media stuff, but we're not sure if it gets any ROI. They'll say, we wrap our truck, but we can't tell if actually people are calling that phone number because we don't have it all dialed in that way, but we think it works. We bought a billboard, but we don't know if the ROI is there, but we knew we needed to do something, and we saw other guys had billboards. And then a lot of like, we just buy leads. We buy Angie's List leads, and companies who have a good process and automation think Angie's leads are the best leads. They're awesome. And companies that have a bad process and bad automation go, Angie's lead sucks. They're the worst leads. They never convert. And and really, we looked into it. It's the difference is just who works them, you know?
That's the difference. I see that all the time too. It's the same thing. But back to that marketing mix, it's really just, I think about it as opportunities, right? Every time that you have an opportunity to promote your business, depending on the channel, that's just an opportunity, right? So you have your website and SEO is an opportunity, right? Your Google business profile.
But we should probably define SEO. I think a lot of people have heard the term, but they may even know what it does, but they don't know what it actually means.
So search engine optimization is essentially doing the things that Google likes so that it displays your website and Google business profile when people search. We'll make it that simple. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into what Google likes.
And I know you're a marketer, so you know what I'm going to say is true, but there's a lot of snake oil out there. There's a lot of SEO companies that don't actually do anything useful for you. So it's scary. People sort of SEO has like a stigma now, I think, a little bit. But if you're getting good SEO, you should be getting higher search ranking, like listing higher on searches and getting more traffic to your site. If you're not getting those things, you have the wrong SEO company.
Definitely. That, SEO takes time. It's complex. But in a simple way, Google only knows how to read.
Yeah, exactly. It only knows what you tell them.
So having content on your website that represents what people are searching for in your business. Right. If you are a siding company, then you have to have content on your website about siding. The better content that you can write, just to be simplistic about it, the better content that you can have on your website about siding, the better chance you have of showing up in Google, right? For roofing. If, you're a remodeling company, bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, all of the very specific and unique things. SEO is pretty simple in that regard. If in the simplistic way, it's having the words that Google can read on your website. That gives you the opportunity to show up in SEO.
Yep.
It also helps your Google My Business listing or business profile. I get the name mixed up now because they keep
the
changing.
Name a lot. Yeah, I can't remember which one is the latest, but of the two, actually, your My Business is maybe your most important of the two.
Yes.
Would you agree?
More phone calls come from the Google Business Profile than from your website.
Yeah. And typically, if somebody's doing a local search, that's the interesting thing when you start getting into the matrix on this, right? And we've got customers who don't realize that the most common modifier word used in Google searching today for local business is best, right? Best roofer in Lehigh, Utah, or whatever it is, right? And then they always use like the locale or the city or the county or something like that as a modifier word too. Exactly. So if your website's not targeting those types of keywords, you're not going to get listed there. Also, your question is, how does Google measure who's best? How do they decide? When you say best, you're letting Google decide who's best. How do they decide?
There's a lot of factors that go into that. Depending on the authority of your website, authority is built over time and through content development and backlinks and all of those types.
Length of your domain.
Yeah, length of time that your domain has been active. All of these things, if you think about it, it's simple. Would you trust someone that's brand new?
Not as much as you would somebody who's been around.
Right. So that's why contractors advertise 15, 20 years experience, right? Been in business since 1986.
That's exactly right.
Right. It's just speaking to the fears of the consumer. So the same fears that the consumer has, Google has.
Yeah.
If I show this company, are they going to be the right company to show? Google's overall goal is to provide the searcher with the best user experience. That's at a very simple level. Just provide the searcher with the best experience. And so what they're showing just needs to provide the best experience to the searcher. So it has to be congruent with what the searcher is typing in. The content that they're providing to the searcher is, what is the typical cost of a roof in Houston?
Yep.
If you have a page on your website that defines that, you have an answer to that question. You have the opportunity to be shown in those search results. That doesn't mean you get to number one just because you have the content.
Yep.
That's where all of the other authority factors build into play. Their algorithm is very, very complex and
changes all the time. But there's always one truth since 1989.
Yeah.
If you have high value content that's relevant, you will always place well, no matter what algorithm changes they've made.
Yeah. Now it's high value content. We used to trick the algorithm with low value content, but a lot of the words so we used to just keyword stuff.
Yep.
Right. You were able to keyword stuff things.
That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
In fact, it hurts you if you try to do it.
It has a negative effect because the way that really what Google is always combating is spam.
Yep.
Right. And so in SEO, you're reverse engineering what Google likes. You're looking at the pages that are ranking and saying, oh, okay, they have backlinks from here and their content has all of these words in it. And so then you're developing content in a similar way. You're getting the same backlinks as that company. And then a lot of the time you start showing up with that in that search result. And so, but then Google continues to look at this and, hey, what did you guys do? What are you doing there? Too many of you are doing this.
Red flag.
Red flag. You're tricking us.
Suddenly you go down in ranking.
That's right. So,
and it's not even a person. It's a computer that makes that decision. So you don't want to play with fire.
Yeah, there's a big challenge right now with another opportunity. That's your Google Business Profile. A big challenge right now are the reviews. Google is holding reviews and it is taking reviews down off of companies' business profiles.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just if the AI thinks it's spam, it takes it down.
We've got a future episode on reviews, right? So we should really deep dive there. So let's pull it back out for a second as we got kind of deep on Google. But I want to think about we talk about the mix.
Yep.
And I think everybody goes, okay, that's cool. I know I need to have certain sources. Now, actually, you and I were talking before this, and you mentioned a quote that you had about the number of sources that you should have.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is from Jim Rohn. He was a business philosopher, I guess you would call him, right? Passed away years ago. But one of my favorite quotes from him was, you need 5 to 7 lead sources to have consistent lead flow in your business.
That's absolutely true still today.
Still today. It's always. So in your marketing mix, in the opportunities that are available for you, you need to pick one, develop that out, pick the next one, develop that out, and just keep going. Once you get to about 5 to 7 of those lead sources, now you're going to have more consistent lead flow in your business. One of the sources is going to be referrals, right? Yep. Another source for roofing contractors is boots and knuckles, knocking on those doors, right? Yeah. That is a great source of leads.
That works for most home exteriors.
For most exterior contractors too, for sure. There's so many ways. Yeah. Door knocking is great. All of these are just opportunities. Having wrapped trucks, driving billboards, having billboards like you mentioned, having TV advertising, radio advertising. Each of these they're just opportunities to make the phone ring. Doing them right is another thing, but all of them are just opportunities. So digitally, you have your Google Local Services ads for most trades now. Yep. You have your Google pay-per-click advertising. You have your Google business profile. You have your organic SEO, the website that Google feels most relevant. You have Google display advertising, mainly used for retargeting and following people around. You have your Facebook advertising, organic day-to-day posting, and your ad spend there. You have, along with Instagram, that goes together. You have TikTok, you have LinkedIn. There's, depending if you're a more B2B or B2C, there's all these opportunities. Walking neighborhoods and putting door hangers, sending direct mail. Everything is just an opportunity.
Yep.
So build that marketing mix of just keep adding opportunities.
Now, what you just listed, I guarantee there's people that are watching and listening right now whose head is spinning because they just heard 10 things that they've never even done anything with before in their life. And they're like, the truth is when I talk to customers, I always ask them, hey, what's your story? How'd you get started in this business? And it's always the same things. It's like, mom and dad gave me the business, or I was working in another business, and I was like, they don't run it well. I could do better. Maybe as a salesperson or somebody swinging a hammer, whatever. Yep. And now I'm running my own thing. These are not MBA students that came from the School of Marketing out of Harvard. Yeah. You're not trained on these things.
That's right.
Are we going to go into detail on how to set some of these things up?
Yeah. Through all these episodes, we're going to get into great detail, and we'll have guides and checklists and all kinds of cool stuff that people can download on the Job Nimbus website for all of this. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking mix. And really what we're talking about is your marketing plan. This is what we're going to spend and where. Yep. So how do you determine, you said optimizing sources. How do you figure out how to optimize something? Is there like a process you use for any source to like step 1, 2, 3? For me, the first thing, and maybe you agree or not, I would look at the strengths of your company first. Yeah.
Right. Where do you shine? If you and your sales reps are amazing at knocking doors, optimize knocking doors.
That's a bread and butter thing. Keep doing it.
Right. Yep. But then start to think of what can we add to these to door knocking that could build the attention more. Well, a yard sign strategy, having wrapped trucks in the neighborhood. Now we're adding to that marketing mix, right? Yep. Sending direct mail to the homeowners in that area before we knock or after we knock, right there. So now we're adding, doing Facebook. Hey, we're in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Check it out. We're in your neighborhood. We're doing inspections. So now you're layering that on. Now you're turning those same social media posts into ads that target those specific areas, right? So there's always a starting point, right? But building it naturally through the strengths of what your company does best, I think is the best tip in that.
Should you have, if you're an owner watching right now, are you going, man, am I doing this myself? Or should you have a dedicated marketing resource? And if so, when is the right time to hire that person?
It depends on where you are at in your business.
Yeah. So let's say that you're $1 million a year, been in business for 2 years. Is that the right time to hire somebody?
Maybe, maybe not.
How would you know?
The way that I like to think about hiring in our business, and you could tell how you've hired. I mean, you've grown a huge team now. I have always, being a founder, right, and growing a business, I always think of, I start to hire the things that I procrastinate.
That's interesting.
Right. So if I am not doing marketing activities, but I know that if those marketing activities get completed, my business moves to the next level, I hire marketing.
Yeah.
If I am focused more on the production side, fulfillment of our services, and I'm too busy over here, and it's taking away from my time over here to get out there and sell, I know I need sales reps. If I am better, if all my time and how I like to spend my time, because that's what we procrastinate on, I think, is what we don't like, right? What we don't like to do. If you're a sales rep by heart, a salesperson by heart, and you're managing all the production and it is just wearing on you, production manager is your next side, right? So that's the way I look at it. What do you think?
Focus on your wheelhouse, definitely true. Yeah. One of the things I always think about is nail it, then scale it. And so if I want to hire somebody, what job are they doing? Yeah. And could I fully write that out and define it? And do I know the processes? And do I know I could keep them busy? And do I know there's ROI or return on investment on them?
Yeah.
And if you think through that, a lot of times you're like, we got to hire somebody for marketing. Wait a minute. Nobody's figured anything out on marketing. Right. We don't know anything. The chances that somebody's going to come in and be God's gift to marketing that you hire off the street and solve all your marketing problems are near zero. So I would always recommend suck it up. Yeah. And start trying some things. If it's yourself or you get some other employee, you carve out 5-10 hours a week, get some process running. This is working. Sweet. Now we got the work. Now we know who to hire that's good at these things, and then you can have more success. That's how we hire almost everybody here.
That's awesome. And that reminds me when I do coaching for companies and it's learn, do, teach.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Like you learn it yourself first, and it's going to take you some time, right? But as an owner, you have to do whatever it takes. And if you don't have that in you to do whatever it takes, if you're like, I'm not going to go and learn how to do a video on Facebook, I'm not going to do it. You're not willing to do what it takes.
Not to mention, then you say, well, we want to grow double this year, but you're going to do the same thing you did the year before. Yeah. It's the definition of insanity. And I meet customers like this. They're usually not our customers because our customers are ones wanting to grow and get better.
That's right.
But a lot of companies like, we're doing great. We're fine the way we are. It's like, no. What's the cost of doing nothing? It's extremely high if you're trying to accomplish something meaningful.
Extremely high.
Yeah.
Right. It's if you're not growing, you're dying kind of thing, right? Like someone is going to put in that work if it's not you.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So, we have clients that work with us that hire us. They're already the top contractor in their area, but they don't want to lose that spot.
Yep.
Like they only want to keep continuing to improve and do more and do better things so that they keep that gap. Because someone's on your heels. There was an analogy I heard recently about the wolf chasing you. If you're a business owner, it's like a wolf is chasing you, right? Like the wolf is chasing you, and you always have to be a step ahead of that. So continuing to build on the opportunities, just building on your marketing. We're talking about marketing, building on the next thing. Continue to build on the next thing. I love doing it first, because if you don't know what it is at all, you can't. How do you hire for it?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And we're going to dive into more details on these things, but I think we've almost come up with like a step 1, 2, 3. Step 1 is like determine a source that you're not using. Did you ever watch The Last Dance? That show about the Bulls and Michael Jordan. Did you hear about this? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was great, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about was Scottie Pippen in that, because Pippen arguably was maybe the second best player in the NBA, but a few years before he wouldn't even been in the top 50 or top 100. And I think the concept behind that was like, having someone to chase made him better, right? And so when I think about, you're like, well, I don't know what marketing to do. Who's the person you want to be when you grow up? Who's the company? It doesn't even have to be in your own market, but look around the country. Who's the company you want to be like? That's the one you want to be when you grow up. What are they doing right now? They're doing this and this and this. Chase them. And that will make you Scottie Pippen. You'll be the best in your market. You know?
Success leaves clues.
Yeah. So the number one was like, determine what things you want to do, then go out and start doing some of them and figure out how to make them work a little bit. And then you're ready to hire somebody possibly, or make some part of that somebody else's job.
Yeah, definitely. That's great.
Thanks so much for joining us. You've got to go to jobnimbus.com/building business now. We've got a bunch of resources there. There's tips and tricks, there's industry insights, and all of it is free. So go and check it out right away. Job Nimbus is the best software tool to get you more organized, more efficient, and frankly, to give you your life back so you can have some life balance as you run your business.
For more information about roofer marketers, go to roofermarketers.com and get a copy of our free book, The Best Known Roofer, the omnipresent framework for your roofing company.